Hello, this is Betamax8 again with another arrived component which is going to form part of my EPIA build, hopefully. Right, I said last time I was going to show you the little component that's going to help me out with this project a lot. I'm a little bit nervous that it's not going to work with the case, but it's going to have to be a case of just trying it and seeing how it works out, really. This is the official VIA solution for doubling my PCI slots. This is an official, I can just about read it there maybe, this is an official what's called a PCI-EXT, so it's an official VIA part and it's officially supported by my particular series of motherboard. It's very rare that these accessory parts end up in the UK. I was very lucky. I looked on eBay and this was actually available. It's listed as used, it's in very good condition, but I literally snapped it up because these things are like wildfire. They disappear. They are they're not around, basically. They were hard to get at the time. They're very expensive and they're just not around anymore. I was able to get this for £12.50, and trust me, for these rare components, for these VIA original components, it's very rare. The thing that's unusual about this, from what I can see as well, is that these regulators actually share the voltage between both PCI slots, so you only need the one electrical connection. Most of these PCI riser cards actually have a separate PCI connection that you have to plug in to sort of get the electrical signal to boost the voltage on the second and the third slots, whereas this does a sort of a voltage share between the two. So that's why this is quite an unusual card. So yeah, very glad to have this. It gives me a few more options with the board, and that's the reason I got the case that I did. Let's just hope that everything fits together okay. Who knows until I actually try? Who knows? It's really hard to tell what the dimensions are of everything and how everything fits together, because the PCI risers on the case look higher than the board, but until I actually put it in, I don't know what it's going to really look like, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. Second thing, he slaps it down on the desk, and this might be the only one he ever finds, so it's not so bright. Bring that in the board box. Right. Second thing arrived today. I haven't really played with these before, but I've been told these are absolutely fine, basically. And it's going to give me a way to capture. Ooh, it's kind of painful, didn't it? I think it's all right. USB extension. That's what it was. It's called an Easy Cap device. It's a USB device, like a USB stick. And it provides an external video capture source for any sort of composite or S-video out. So I can put component in there through S-video, and I can put composite, and I can basically do S-video plus composite audio, which is something that a lot of my computers would support. So should provide me with some actual decent screen capture type playback when I actually figure it out. Does come with some software. And you know what, this costs £8. There isn't really another solution. This is pretty much it until you go for one of these dedicated capture cards. This is it, and for an old system I think this will be absolutely fine. I'm not expecting frame rates of 120 or something, because the older systems aren't going to produce them anyway. But for a kind of capture we're going to be doing, I think this is going to be really good, and it can take the raw capture as well. So yeah, should be really interesting. I'm very hopeful for this, and I thought £8. I can spare £8 for this channel, as long as I can actually spare the ingenuity to actually get it working, because it's a bit of a mystery. The software is a bit of a mystery. It's trying to take the capture from the webcam all the time. I didn't ask it to, but it decided that would be the best thing to do. So it's a bit of a mystery. Okay. So that's just arrived today. It's sort of the side thing, because it's more general and not so related to this project. No, I don't seem to have caused a big dent in the wrist rest of my keyboard. That's a good thing, because I would have been upset, I think, because it's a discontinued keyboard. I did buy it new, but I bought it in the last couple of months of its life while it was quite cheap. It's a Logitech G510S, so it's got all these gaming profiles, and it's the only thing I've got that's RGB actually. Yes, I have got some RGB, but only on that. Okay. Putting my wonderful little EPIA board away again for the minute. Okay. And someone challenged me in terms of graphics and sound to go hard or go home with this build. Just to recap on the plan for this build, I don't know if I made it very clear, and I don't know if I was very clear on what it was going to be for when I initially introduced the project. The plan is to actually make a LAN party computer, e.g. one that's portable and that I can actually transport from here to another venue, that can actually run my Windows 98 and Windows XP era software, and hopefully some DOS software as well. It's a bit secondary, but it's part of the plan. I was hoping to get a Voodoo 2 card. I've had very bad luck regarding that. It's kind of like if you've got a 3DFX card, that you should be very grateful, and that's it. You're allowed one. You're not allowed two. It gets very expensive very quickly when I start bidding on any 3DFX cards. A Voodoo 2 would have been an amazing solution, so I had all that retro compatibility. But what I've done is I've gone the other way. The aim of this being that I can actually run a Glide wrapper in Windows using this card without any performance hit, because the graphics card should be able to translate the calls into OpenGL natively. I've had some great success with the nGlide wrapper. It's a few years since I tried a Glide wrapper, but nGlide 1.05, which has been around for donkey's years now, seems to be a really, really reliable, very powerful Glide wrapper. So it's less of a thing than it used to be. I would have liked that DOS compatibility, but to be honest with you, with my Voodoo 3, I've had some problems with it anyway. So, you know, how easy is it to get the right hardware for the card? I don't know. Anyway, the right hardware to support the card, I mean. Okay. Anyway, generic box from China. I'm showing you not my address, but I'm showing you the random address in China, because there's nothing to say what manufacturer this is from. It's very strange. JSDL Limited. I actually ordered this from the UK. I paid a £5 premium, let's say, to have it come from a UK supplier, but I've had problems with customs lately. I've had to pay customs charges on things, so to save that and just have the ease of a UK seller, even though it's basically a Chinese product, that's fine. I will say as well, I have actually unboxed this already briefly, because I wanted to make sure that this was a PCI version and not an AGP version. Yeah, it's one of those eBay things where the description isn't always 100% and you have a sort of a 10% niggling doubt about it. Luckily, it was a good find this time. So, go hard or go home. So I've done that. So I've taken that on board. I thought you would like to see the accessories first, because they make me laugh on these things. I have no idea who the manufacturer is. I have no idea what's going on, because this card seems to be brand new, as in it's still in production. I don't know if it's using old ICs that were left over. It seems to have the official heatsink. I don't really understand. I don't know if it's a clone of a well-known manufacturer's card. I have no idea. What I do know is that the drivers are on a recordable CD, and they say AGP. There we go. I love it. It's the Chinese tradition of sticking the drivers on a blank CDR and not bothering with the relabel. And yeah, there is something on the CD. Yeah, that's how it came. It's really good. Yeah. This is actually pretty shocking as well. Someone authored this CD in 2007. I've actually found drivers, at least for Windows XP, that are newer than this, but they've been sticking with reprinting this CD on a CDR. Just forever, really. I don't even know if the software would work with this card. It's very hard to tell. It's just a random selection of driver packages, so that's It's going to be fun for someone in the future who can't get access to the NVIDIA site properly. And oh, this is wonderful. This is, look at this. This is what I love from China. No, it doesn't get any clearer. It's a silhouette. Look at that. It's a rock goddess, I think. She's got her air guitar and she seems to be creating fire. So that's you know, that's the thing. Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's a photocopy of a much smaller manual on blank paper. It's really fab. I'm so pleased they included this. I really am so glad they included this. It's made my day, really. It's really magical. So that's nice. And then we get to the card. I think there is some cloning going on here. Something isn't 100% right about this. Not the chip, not the card. Just something they've done with it. Comes in packaging. Yeah, fair enough to them. Totally generic though. No, I didn't put the tape on this, okay? I didn't put this tape on this. This is how it's arrived from the factory. Oh look, I don't know what brand it is. Oh look, I don't know what the copyrighted, yeah, what the copyrighted logo is. Yeah. Yeah. Luckily they made it so that's very easy to take off. It's just sort of quite funny, really. So yes, what you're looking at is, as you're trying to fathom, a PCI NVIDIA GeForce FX 5500, and someone is, and yes, I need to get a hammer to that or something. Yeah. Oh well. So this seems to be the fastest card ever made for the PCI slot. So this is a 256 megabyte PCI GeForce FX 5500 PCI. I have a serial number on the back. I haven't looked at it yet. It might tell me the manufacturer. I don't know. Here it is though. 1 year warranty. There we go. I don't know how they know when the warranty was actually started, but it has a 1 year warranty. It's good to know. One other thing as well. There seems to basically only be two designs of this card. This seems to be the better of two. This wasn't expensive, by the way. This was £30 because I got it from the UK seller. I could possibly have got it for £25 or £26 if I had had it imported, but it did arrive within 72 hours, and you know, it's the same, so that's fine. Oh yes, nice selection of outputs. It will work with that EasyCap card. So it's a very unusual card for the time in having DVI. It's the first retro card I've owned that actually has DVI, so that's an exciting thing. I can actually connect it digitally to my LCD panel, which is quite nice. S-video out and traditional VGA, so that gives me a nice wide range of options, which I'm very grateful for. Actually, it's quite nice. Anyway, yes, there are seems to be two types of PCBs flying around. I think this is the more expensive one. It certainly looks more together to me. I would say this is kind of what I would expect a GeForce FX 5500 to look like, I think, in terms of the way that the PCB is laid out. There is a cheaper one that I could have got for £23. It's only £2 cheaper, but the caps on the resistors, not the resistors, I'm sorry, the caps in general are huge, and they look like they're from the early 80s. I had my real suspicions about that board, so I've spent the extra £2 and I've got what I think is the better board. So I think I'm right in saying I have the fastest possible PCI graphics card at this moment to go into that EPIA machine. It's probably overkill for the time. I did some research into what kind of processors were around at the time, and I suppose what I'm doing is putting it in something that's like a Pentium M, which was appropriate for the time. But at the other end of the spectrum, there was the Pentium 4 Extreme Edition and the Athlon 64 from AMD. So I don't know. We will see. If the bottleneck's the CPU, I don't mind too much, because at least I know that it's not the graphics card that's limiting performance. I think this will be interesting. Watch this space.